Do you want to go to those quick fixes and those schemes that are, are meant to try to help you lose weight fast or get in shape faster? It's a marathon, it's not a sprint. So the two options you have, do you want something that's going to be quick and easy, but is not reliable? Or you want something that's going to, take a little bit longer, maybe moving a little bit slower, but it's more obtainable. It lasts longer. I just puked in my mouth. Literally, I was commuting around Denver, Colorado, where there was snow everywhere. Places are still open. You just got to drive in the snow and the ice and just be cautious. But come back down here thinking that we're going to get back to normal, 40 to 50 degree weather, and it's different. Because aside from that, I realized that I actually like snow. Not a fan of the coldness of it, and with the elevation and being able to walk around. I think I need to get in shape. I think I watched too many videos to say that I am in shape. I don't think I'm in shape.
Well, it's very interesting because I'm sure we'll talk about this a little more, but I did some boxing tonight. And because of the cold air outside and the cold air in my lungs, I just felt like I got winded.
Were you outside,
so
Rocky?
Fast. No, but compared to, like, I did a ruck march a couple weeks ago, and it was like 45 degrees, really nice outside, and I felt like I could just go on for forever. But then when it's really hot or it's really cold, it's just amazing how that affects your ability to endure and, I guess, process oxygen or whatever in your body.
So what do you think was harder for you to get your breath? Obviously with a ruck march, that's more of kind of a long distance. You knew what pace you're going to, but I'm assuming in the boxing class, were you broken up into time?
It's like 2 minute high intensity
2 minutes is pretty
training, at a time. And so you just do, I think it was like basically 2 minutes on, 1 minute off, the whole thing. So it was pretty fast pace. But I don't know, with a ruck march, like I was running the whole thing. So it's not like I was just going for a stroll, but I don't know, it's a lot easier to get in a stride versus competing in some sort of sport where it's just constantly changing. Like you're not doing the same thing for an extended period of time to where your body can start to hit that flow or whatever. So
was the first time you were taking a boxing class?
Yeah, officially.
So do you think that you have a little bit more or you've earned some respect or earned respect for those that actually fight and actually get punched back and have to do it continuously?
Oh, yeah. So I've never done, like, official boxing until today, but I've done, like, backyard boxing, whatever, with people. And you find out fast how easy it is to wear out. And then after you watch somebody fighting for, lasting 8 rounds, even just in an exhibition or whatever, and just surviving, you're going, okay, that's
those guys are going, 12 rounds, 3 to 4, I think 3 to 5 minutes or whatever, but they're also having to defend themselves, punch, you got offense, defense, and you're getting punched. That's why, I've never actually been interested in being punched in the face or boxing. I understand the conditioning aspect of it,
right?
But and how it can get you into shape. So I give boxers plenty of props. That's tough. Because it's a continuous pace. You can't just say, "Hey, time out." Give me a couple of seconds. It's tough.
Well, so I very much failed to plan today, and Alex had me on an upper body day, and I
told me that,
destroyed shoulders this morning. Just got him real good, and then went boxing.
That's usually smart, because you don't need your shoulders or arms to box.
Goodness, my shoulders hurt so bad by the end. Well, it hurt basically at the beginning, but I survived.
That would have been kind of funny if your coach put you up on like a speed bag or something, and your arms were just wearing out, so you just started headbutting the bag just to throw them off.
The second half of the whole thing, coach is like, hands up, keep your. I'm like, it hurts.
I'm pretty sure that if he can't bench over 300, he may knock you out, but he can't beat you on the bench. So
no, what's funny is that at the very end, we did some strength type training and whatever, body weight, and that I killed. Outdid everybody else in the class. Didn't have a single problem.
Yeah, because that's what boxing matches are all about. When you get into the ring, you're going to be like, oh, you just punched me, drop and give me 20. I bet you I can beat you. Yeah.
Like,
that
you
might
be scared of me. I can do a lot of push-ups.
Yeah, you're gonna go in there with a pull-up ring and be like, pull-up bar. Like, how many pull-ups can you do just because of that? Hey, well, that's good. You're able to see that kind of training. That because I've done that. I've done MMA. I've done jiu-jitsu. I've done just to be able to see, based on the number of people I've trained. I just want to see what it's like, and there's some things I like, and there's some things I don't like.
Oh, yeah.
Boxing, that's tough. So, kudos for you to try to step out your box and try to do something different. So,
oh yeah, well that's part of it. Is at some point I'll have James pull up this video. I emailed it to email on that computer a few minutes ago, but there's a lot of research basically coming out about the brain and how it reacts to essentially doing things you don't want to do, forcing, and that's kind of the definition of discipline, right? Forcing yourself to do the thing that's hard, right? And what that does for you on a neurological level. And so that's just been on my mind a lot recently, but that's something I try to live by anyway, is as soon as I feel my weightlifting routine become that, just a routine, that it becomes easy, or even I start to enjoy it, I want to switch it up, because I shouldn't be enjoying it. That's not if I'm enjoying it, I'm probably not working hard enough.
Pushing yourself
right?
enough.
And so that's why, we can probably get into this too, but me and Alex have a meet coming up. We're training towards. He's pushing me hard in a lot of different ways, different styles of training that I haven't done before, and it's just something new, something fresh. I'm enjoying it, quote unquote, just in the sense that I like the satisfaction you get at the end, which is I pushed myself. I did something I'm not used to doing, but there's days that I want to punch Alex in the face for what he's making me do.
Well, if it would have been today, would have been the best day for you to try to punch me in the face, because your arms would have been done. You could have just got my glove and I'd be like, okay, Jonathan, that's good. You're the one that chose to book a boxing class on the day we're doing upper body, heavy bench. That's
we'll
totally fall on you.
Move that around next week. Yeah.
That would have been totally on you, I think. But at least you have that experience. But it's going to be overall good for you anyway. If it was going to be detrimental to your gains, then obviously that's something that be adjusted. But it can only benefit you.
Sure.
They call it general preparedness. Your body's going to be prepared for it. You'll have the conditioning behind it. So, but it should be fun.
Yeah, it'll be good. And I need to condition a little bit anyway.
Yeah.
Yes. It's very easy to fall into a weightlifting routine and completely skip out on the cardio.
Your heart's important. That's what I had sent you a message. I know last week we had it on air, and I think we'll find a way to delete it out of there or take that out of there. But I did agree to do a ruck march, and then after walking around a little bit up in Denver with the elevation, I was getting fatigued pretty quick. But then when I came back to our airport here, and I was still getting fatigued walking to the airport, I said, well, it's not the elevation. I just don't have the conditioning. So that's the thing that I have officially started this week, is to try to, get that conditioning. And it might be something along the lines of kind of doing more of like a HIIT session once or twice a week. Sure. I know like the boxing. We have, boxing punching bags outside. We got gloves.
Yeah.
You spend 30 seconds doing that. You get fatigued, and it'll help you. But
well, so Alex,
hey, we're strong, but we ain't running nowhere out there. We'll have to rely on you. You would have to carry me.
I keep saying Alex as if you're not sitting across from me.
No, I'm right here.
I'm saying Alex as if I'm talking to Michael or whatever. But you're putting me through very lower body focused routines right now, because if we're being honest, my lower body numbers aren't bad. It's just that my upper body numbers are so much better. So to give general perspective, I'm competing in the 165. I have like a 340 squat. I have a 420 deadlift. So decent
300
numbers.
bench.
But my bench is 315, 320 or whatever. So dang near 2 times body weight bench versus, pretty mediocre lower body lifts. So anyway, that's what we're doing. We're very squat focused right now, trying to get those numbers up.
Yeah, we're trying to change you from the Incredible character, if you remember what he looks like, to the Incredible Hulk character. So we're trying to build up some of that lower body, and I'm going vice versa. I'm trying to get up the bench up there. That's why I said, well, cardio's not going to help my bench, but it can, because you can get more sets in. You can push yourself a little bit more.
It can help you on your volume and therefore your strength ultimately. You know Crunk on the Emperor's New Groove?
Crunk on the Emperor's New Groove.
Do you know what the Emperor's New Groove is?
Nope.
Cusco? He turns into a llama? Ah, I'm a llama again. No.
I have no idea.
Yzma? Pull the lever, Crunk.
Bro, is this a cartoon?
Yeah.
The
Okay.
Emperor's New
Hold on.
Groove. Is
The Emperor's New Groove.
Is it the Emperor? Is he like a? He's like skinny. He has like a little mustache,
Yeah,
and he walks around with.
I don't know about mustache. But...
Oh yeah, but I've never seen it. Yeah.
Okay, you've never seen that? Hilarious, very quotable movie.
Okay,
but
I'll watch
there's
it.
a character named Crunk who is kind of shaped like the Incredibles character. Yep.
Yeah.
Except he's got
Oh,
giant
yeah.
calves. That's
So
me.
that's Daniel. Do you have a shot? Sir, we got Daniel Hoyt,
I showed
also
Daniel
known
a
as
picture.
Crunk.
I was like,
That's
"Have
for
you heard of
sure.
Crunk?" And I'm pretty sure he said somebody said I look like Crunk, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, you do. Let me show
That
you a
is
picture."
that's pretty much exactly. Yep, that's Daniel. All right.
Yep.
That's who we all strive to be. He looks like an Adonis. Yeah.
Except no quads.
Yeah.
His calves are bigger than his quads. But that's why I
I'll
say
be
relate to
okay
him a
with
little
that
bit.
because when you're wearing shorts, I can't be walking around because I do have good sized quads and my calves are literally chicken legs. So I think I'd rather go for that look. I mean, nobody's walking around looking at a guy going, man, look at that guy's quads. Most people are like, man, look at that guy's calves. So that guy right there, I'm gonna have to watch it. I wonder if he puts his workout routine on the cartoon because that's pretty
Bro,
impressive.
we're looking at our own video feed. That was kind of cool.
I know that was cool. Hey, mom. Give her a
No,
shout out.
so I mean, there's a lot of different aspects to becoming a whole healthy person, and the physical is just one of those. But that
Yeah, but
doesn't make the
it-
physical unimportant.
Per your
right?
definition or just in general?
Actual health, meaning you're trying to live a long life. But Michael, shout out to Michael, who's not here tonight. By the way, Michael is with his wife. They're looking to bring another life into the world here pretty shortly. So
Go Michael.
prayers
Go
up for
Michael.
them and baby. But Michael sent us this video. I guess Matt Walsh is reacting to it. So we are reacting to Matt Walsh reacting to a woman on TikTok, a doctor who is evidently making some wild claims. Let's roll it, James.
He looks like he's looking at you, kind of creepy.
I am tired all the time and something is wrong. And he said, you just need to lose some weight.
One of the things I've learned as a doctor on TikTok is how many people are going to the doctor and just being told to lose weight. I have always known, trust me, that weight can be a source of shame and stigma and something that actually stops people from going to the doctor because they want to go get help with their problems, but they don't want to be weighed. They don't want to get a lecture on how they need to lose weight, especially when they're things that have nothing to do with their weight, and people want to avoid that lecture on weight loss when they just want help with their nausea or something. I think learning from all of you creators and commenters how big of a problem this is has really made an impression on me, and quite frankly has changed my practice. So I actually ask patients if it is okay to talk about weight. If they don't want to be weighed at an appointment, that is okay. We actually are changing our electronic health record to make it so weight isn't even printed out on.
All right, can we pause right here for a second?
Yeah, because I'm about to puke. Like I just puked in my mouth. I am
So
astonished.
she said people go to the doctor for something that has nothing to do with weight, and they don't want to be lectured about their weight.
About their weight.
Okay, let's just make this very, very simple. If you're overweight, it can cause all kinds of health issues. Your sicknesses are worse. Your diabetes gets worse.
No,
everything gets worse because your body is less equipped, less strong and healthy to fight whatever ailment you're dealing with, right? So, yeah, obviously that's going to get brought up.
I'm just trying to channel my inner calmness because I've been trying. I should have brought my Bible.
This is like going to a therapist and saying, well, I'm really, really stressed. And they say, well, do you ever take time for yourself? And you go, no, that's not what this is about. I'm stressed.
Yeah.
It's like, well, yeah, but if you're stressed, you need to rest. You need to take it easy. You can't be working all the time. All those sorts. Right.
You
right.
literally go to your therapist and you literally have a beer can in your hand. You're drinking and you're like, I'm stressed. And you're like, you don't think it has anything to do with your drinking? Oh, of course it doesn't. I make all good decisions when I'm drinking. What the?
Right.
I I didn't get to this part. I think I clicked on another video, but if I would have saw this, I mean, even if you look at the top 5 causes of death, it's undisputable. If they want to go by statistics and they want to answer to what's, what's actually the information is out there, the top 5 leading causes of death are going to be self-made diseases that create upon ourselves. I mean, this might not be in the exact order, but we have diabetes, high blood pressure, cholesterol, cancer, and then there's one more that might be missing.
All of which you
can relate to something
statistics look worse if you're overweight.
Right. Your chances of recovery and your chances of actually recovering from any of them obviously can date back because, if you have high blood pressure, 99% of the time they're going to tell you, look at your diet, look at your activity level to lose weight. If you're a diabetic, even though there's type 1, type 2, obviously some is genetic, some is hereditary, so you can be in the best of shape. I've had clients that were type 1 diabetic, but it was hereditary and it was genetics, and they were in amazing shape and they counted their calories and they were in shape, but they also knew that was something they couldn't control. But you have a type 2 diabetic, and obviously I'm not a medical doctor, we're not giving medical advice, but more of the times if you're a type 2 diabetic, you've contracted it over the years based on your lifestyle.
Right. Well, and people's main complaints with doctors is that all they want to do is prescribe a medication for everything. They never want to get to the root of a problem. Well, that is them trying to get to the root of the problem.
Right.
Right? Because I'm out of breath all the time. Okay, well, yeah, we can give you an inhaler. We can give you a CPAP machine to be able to breathe at night. But what's going to take that problem away would be you not being overweight. And this is not to be insensitive. I mean,
no, of course not.
People struggle with all sorts of things. I may not struggle with weight. It doesn't mean I'm not struggling spiritually or mentally or whatever ailment people have, and deal with. And we all go through phases of all those things in our lives and whatever. But I mean, if it's an issue, it's an issue. Sometimes shame is there. She's talking about how there's stigma and shame around weight. Sometimes shame is there because there's actually something wrong that needs to be fixed, right? And that you don't have to feel shame unless that shame is motivating you to do something good. Right. Don't let shame turn into, self-deprecation, self-doubt, those sorts of things. But okay, I'm ashamed in the sense that I'm upset at myself for letting myself make bad decisions that made me get to the point where I am, but that doesn't mean it's too late to turn around.
Yeah, you got me all. It's starting to get hot in here. So now I see I'm pulling up my jacket. Came in here freezing. That just, those 20 seconds of that just created my blood to boil. Because also you just mentioned she was mentioning the stigma, what is being created, what people's and thoughts are. Just like you used the therapist example, it's always been a stigma. If you went to therapy, you were considered crazy. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, 5-6 years ago, people would never want to tell somebody they went to a therapist. They were embarrassed. But when you went to a therapist, they were there to tell you, hey, look, this is what you need to work on. I'm giving you my honest feedback, giving you my honest advice. I would, safe to say, having gone to therapy and still going to therapy, I don't have a therapist that's like, you know what, maybe your health has to do with it. They will tell you the truth of what's the picture being involved. Right. So now how did it switch over to now if you go to a doctor, there's that stigma of like you don't want a doctor to tell you you're overweight because it's going to be a negative connotation. No, they and we're not saying that all doctors are like that, but you have to receive the truth. If there's something that's wrong with you, you're going to have to look at a full soccer. I mean, a doctor has to look at everything that's wrong with a person. You have to address weight. For that doctor saying that we're not even documenting their weight, then how are you showing any progress of their improvement?
Well, what people want is a pill that will take their problem away so they can keep living the way they want. And that extends to a lot of different areas of life. We want to not be able to get enough sleep, and we want to abuse our bodies in that way and then just down caffeine all day, right? And just survive on caffeine. Well, maybe if you just got enough sleep, you wouldn't have to have the caffeine all the time, right? People want a fix. And so if you can get a medication that takes away whatever symptom you're getting without putting in the hard work of making sure your health is actually in order, all you're doing is disguising the problem while it gets worse. And that goes, again, not just for physical health. It's all of the above. I can't tell you how many people I've met who said once they got their physical health in check, their mental health improved.
Oh, of course.
And the flip side is true. I know people who have said once I got my relationship with God right, and once I got my mental state right, and my family relationships right, I started losing weight. Was there something magical in the family relationships? No, but when they were less stressed, they were not stress eating. When they were less stressed, they were more likely to move and enjoy life instead of being sedentary and sad on a couch, right? And all those sorts of things play into each other. And so if I go to a doctor and they say, hey man, you're doing something that's harming you, or you've made decisions that are harming you, and whatever issue you are having, you think it's not related to that, maybe it's not, but I'm telling you, you need to lose weight because I care about your health. I'm your doctor. That sounds like a good doctor.
But also, you have to look into the fact that it's not even, and I just want to clarify this, we're definitely not just picking on those that are overweight going to the doctor and hear this kind of information, because there's people that have eating disorders where they go into a doctor, and if you have the idea of a doctor like this that's like, we're not going to weigh you, what if you have a patient that's underweight, they're low iron, their nutrition levels are on because they have an eating disorder. They could be,
and their eating disorders the other way.
Yeah, they could be anorexic, so they would appear that they're, because of their weight, they appear to be smaller frame, skinny, but they're not eating properly. So what happens then if you get we're not going to weigh you in, but we're going to get your blood results. Okay, you come back, you're deficient in iron, you're deficient in magnesium, you have all these deficiencies.
Are they not going to mention to you your diet?
Right. Are they not going to tell you because they don't want to make you feel bad? So
your cholesterol is high. Oh, all of your markers are high, but I'm not going to tell you to stop eating so much greasy food.
Right.
Well, that doesn't make any sense. So it's a little bit ridiculous. We can roll the next couple minutes if Alex wants to sit through it, but
hold on, baby Jesus.
But if you're going to the doctor and you're surprised that they're telling you basically the number one thing that affects your health that is controllable, which is your weight.
That's about the only thing that you can legitimately control.
Right.
Yeah.
It's crazy. You should be able to go to a doctor for a legitimate health concern and not have it blamed on your weight. This is not okay.
Well, that's good. Yeah, let's not put the weight on their health records, because increasingly we want to remove all actual physical information about people from their health record, because you don't want to put weight on there because it might offend them.
Oh my gosh, dude.
So that's the biggest thing, because even and I say our example, we've talked about it a number of times. When we've gone to the doctor, we've got weighed in, and based on and I feel it's a little bit outdated chart based on the BMI schedule. Technically, both of us are obese and overweight. Sure. Because they don't take into account your muscle mass, your lean body mass. But does that stop me from not understanding how the system works and knowing what's good for my body?
Sure.
If the doctor doesn't tell me, okay, you're obese, you're going to have to lose 30 pounds, but I know that the BMI is kind of outdated. It's not calculating your actual muscle mass taken into account. So if they don't ever take my weight, then on the flip side of it, I'm still going to understand that my weight is important on how my blood results come out, the testing come out.
So, there's a few different things there. Statistically, if you keep yourself in the green, meaning healthy weight or normal weight or however it's phrased in the BMI, and we can pull up the numbers if we want, but cancer rates, heart attack rates, all of these different metrics, all those, top ways that people die, your risk of those things happening to you go drastically down by one thing that you can control, and it's staying in that healthy weight range according to the BMI. And so here's where it gets tricky is, I intentionally put on weight. I'm still a low body fat percentage, but there's more muscle on my frame than was when I was younger, and now I'm quote unquote 20 pounds overweight or 30 pounds overweight. Doesn't my heart still have to support that? Right. My heart still has to pump all that blood, whether it's supporting fat or muscle. And so that's where me trying to be health conscious, I have to be honest with myself too. Yeah, it's cool to be strong and all of that, but eventually I'm putting too much load on my heart. And especially once guys start abusing substances and all of those sorts of things, which is just getting more and more prevalent in gym culture, you start to push your body beyond even natural limits. now your heart is working 10 times as hard.
Right.
And no wonder so many young bodybuilders are dropping. And, you know, it's set. So you can take your body into extremes, but I think the main word here is just moderation.
Yeah,
just
moderation.
living a life where you move, your heart is being worked, your muscles are being worked. The stronger you are, here's the positive, even if you're pushing the BMI side, the stronger you are, the less you'll atrophy as you get old, meaning you'll stay stronger longer, being able to move around. You're not going to be little and brittle like a lot of old folks end up, unfortunately. And so as long as you're moving and you try to stay strong and active, it's going to be good for you. But one of the only things you can control is your weight, and that affects so much. Directly, indirectly, doesn't matter. Statistically, your life will be better, you know.
Because even on that, even since you had mentioned the bodybuilders, because even if a bodybuilder goes to a doctor, the doctor's going to look at that person and be like, man, they're in really great shape. You know, they got big old muscles. They're all, but depending on their height and their weight, I kind of what you said. There's so many in these last 2 years have been such a high number of high level bodybuilders passing away, where maybe that stigma of the doctor not wanting to check their weight or just assuming, oh, you look healthy because we know you have a lot of muscle. We don't need to weigh you. Right. Okay, but like you said, the bigger you are, even with the more muscle mass you have, your heart doesn't get any bigger.
You don't want to push your heart.
Your heart doesn't get any bigger.
You get one heart.
Yeah, so it doesn't get the more muscles you make, it may make your heart stronger, but it doesn't get any bigger. But it still has to work just as much to put you through that. But I mean, that could be a problem why doctors they do not want to take a look into the whole aspect of weight, because it's, you know, for them maybe it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. You know, if you're overweight and you have a high body fat percentage, they don't want to make you feel bad. It's a stigma. Maybe it's not that. Or if you're really, really in good shape, but you have a lot of muscle mass, you still need to be checked out.
Right.
Because especially, you know, as you said, if you're abusing substances, you know, your heart has to work, you know, just as much. Your liver, kidneys, I mean, there's so many different things that affects it. But
well, because honestly, my doctor, here's how the conversation goes. They go, oh, you're weighing in obese, but I'm looking at you. You're totally fine. Keep doing your thing. Well, on one hand, it's good that they're using a little bit of common sense and going, I'm obviously not looking at someone who's sedentary and whatever. But at the same time, it's easy to get complacent in that. Like you said, these bodybuilders just assume just because they're a low body fat percentage that they're doing fine, that they're healthy, or because they're getting basic blood work and it's coming back normal that they're healthy. Well, your heart's being worked really, really hard. My general opinion, basic opinion is that you're not going to put on too much muscle naturally, most likely. Once you start abusing things, you can start abusing your heart too. But I think if my body, there's no research I can find on this either way, but intuitively I'm thinking if your body can naturally put on a certain amount of muscle, it can probably support that. Right. Whereas if you're sedentary and you're just getting fat, we know based on research that that's bad for you, you know. And there's so many benefits metabolically and health-wise and whatever to being strong. And so that's going to be one of my priorities. I mean, even my papa, I've told you about my papa.
Yeah, doing push-ups and...
Till the day he died, man, it was strength training and walking. Those were the two things. He worked out his heart. He worked out his muscles, and he wanted to stay strong. And he didn't atrophy. I mean, until the very end, you know.
Yeah, because you're going to have a slight, but you can definitely reduce the percentages. I mean, there's numbers to show that after the age of 35, I think, you know, 5 to 6%, you know, within the first 5 to 10 years, you lose the muscle atrophy if you don't keep it up. I mean, but you can prevent a lot of the deduction of it, but it still goes in the fact of how you're staying in shape and how you're keeping yourself healthy, moving. And it's not in the fact of, just like you said about your grandpa, you don't have to go into a gym and lift weights. Just be active around the house. Take a walk. You know, you can do some push-ups off the couch. You can do some squats off a kitchen chair. It's just a matter of doing something. But I'm still so lost in the fact of how, because I know for a fact she's probably not the only doctor that's spitting out that nonsense. Like, and the followers behind that listen to that and they say, you know what, they'll go to a doctor and say, no, you cannot weigh me. I have my right. And it's it's absurd. It's just sad of how that started even becoming, because for sure she didn't come up with that idea. So she copied it from someone, and I could probably guarantee she copied it from somebody off of TikTok also. And she's riding it for the views and the likes and to be able to clickbait, because she didn't come up with that idea.
Okay,
she got it from
because
somebody.
let's be honest, in certain situations, she's right. Somebody may have a health problem that's got nothing to do with their weight. You break your ankle because you stepped in a pothole. Okay,
Yeah.
whatever. Sure, there are situations that are separate from your weight. Does that mean, as a doctor who cares about your patient's health, you're not going to mention to them something that's glaringly obvious that's affecting their health, though? I mean...
Well, I kind of disagree with you, because if you step into a hole...
I mean, you're right.
Your weight can affect how...
Sure.
Or how healthy you are, because remember, as healthy you are, your ligaments, your tendons, your red blood cells, how fast you.
All right, somebody punches
injury.
you in the face, you break your nose. That has nothing to do with your weight, right?
Well, I think I'd rather be bigger than that. I'd have more cushion then.
But yes, there could be a situation that legitimately isn't caused by your weight or whatever. But one, if there's a chance that it is, let's control what we can control naturally before just medicating you, right?
Yeah.
It's like, and I, again, want to be careful because we're not mental health experts either or whatever, and this is not individualized advice or anything like that. But
just from me, on his side of the table is not mine. Don't worry about it.
But if you struggle with, let's say you're struggling with depression, and you're jobless and you do nothing all the time. Well, the first thing that you can probably do that's going to help is probably going and finding a job, finding purpose, being productive, being around people, not isolating yourself, right? Those are very basic things that you can control. If all of those, if your physical health is in check and you have purpose in your life and you have family in your life and you're still struggling with that, there may be something that you need to go and get professional help on, right? Versus if there's things that are glaringly obvious that you can control them, right? And I think that's the only thing with the weight is, yes, maybe you've got something that's not related to your weight, but let's try the weight first, because that's a glaringly obvious issue that could be causing what you're dealing with. If you fix the weight and you're still dealing with that problem, it's still a win, because you'll be healthier in other areas because of the weight. Now we can address the problem with medication or whatever we need to do, versus let's just slap medication on everything when we're abusing our bodies.
Yeah. Like you said, you look at the situation, then you assess it. But if you just become a little bit more active, move a little bit more, make little smarter choices on your food, and then play it from there, and then start making the adjustments. Because like you said, I don't think that who's ever listened to us, we're not trying to say, oh, just because you're overweight, that's because you're lazy and you choose to be. We understand that. That's definitely not what it is. It's the fact
we live in a culture of high calorie foods and sitting still at your job, and our culture is terrible for health. So
culture and the state. I mean, Texas. I mean, we're in Texas, and that's one of the highest obesity rates in United States.
We eat in Texas
because of our food choices.
Right.
Even though we have one of the highest ratings and activity levels with outside parks, and basically we have temperature throughout the year that aside from day is cold, but even under these conditions, you could still go for a walk and survive. You layer up, and you can still go walk. So it's there's so many different factors, and we're not.
There's a lot of factors, and it's not like people intentionally go, I'm just gonna be 100 pounds overweight.
Right.
You get there because of situations sometimes that you didn't put yourself in, or you didn't choose. But regardless of where you're at, what situations you chose, or what's just in your lap, make the countercultural decision to do the right thing for your health, because 80, 90-year-old you is gonna be thankful for it. As a part of all of this, and this does not just apply to physical, it's mental, it's spiritual, it's education-wise, all of that. This research that's been coming out, and James, I'll have you pull up the video I emailed if you don't mind. But everybody knows who David Goggins is. David Goggins, I just said everyone knows, and now I'm going to introduce him.
Yeah.
For the few people who don't know who he is, David is a former Navy SEAL. He has been through Army Ranger School. Very impressive military career, decorated. Once he got out of there, he's broken a lot of records for physical training. The pull-up record, I think he took twice, and then it was snagged from him both times. And I may be getting that off, but he's done hundreds of miles worth of races that are supposed to be team events, and he did them by himself. And anyway, just nutty stuff. And he's widely regarded as the toughest man on earth, right? And he started out at 300 something pounds, lost the weight, went into Navy SEAL training, and never went back. He's been a stud ever since. Well, Andrew Huberman has him on his podcast. Huberman is he teaches at Stanford. He teaches med students brain neurology is the word I'm looking for. And so his goal was, let me get inside the mind of David Goggins. So let's talk about some recent research and what we've been learning in neuroscience, and maybe some of the reasons why David's been able to accomplish what he's been able to accomplish. So let's roll this video real quick.
Most people don't know this, but there's a brain structure called the anterior mid-cingulate cortex. What's interesting about this brain area is when people do something they don't want to do, like add 3 hours of exercise per day or per week, or when people who are trying to diet and lose weight resist eating something. When people do anything that they don't want to do, it's not about adding more work, it's about adding more work that you don't want to do. This brain area gets bigger. It's especially large or grows larger in people that see themselves as challenged and overcome some challenge. In many ways, scientists are starting to think of the anterior mid-cingulate cortex not just as one of the seats of willpower, but perhaps actually the seat of the will to live.
Wow.
So
that's pretty short but intense. That's pretty deep.
Right. And so there's so much information in there that they can't fit in a 60-second clip, but obese individuals who lost weight and kept the weight off, this area of the brain is bigger in them. Those who live a long time, it's bigger. And evident in that is they must have been doing hard things their whole life, and consistently those are the people living long lives. Now, is that the only factor? No, of course not. But a lot of things are intertwined. If you're an individual who's willing to do things you don't want to do, you're probably the individual who's making smarter health choices and making smarter choices in general that are not damaging or dangerous and those sorts of things. But all that being said, it just got me thinking, man, a lot of people go, oh, well, I do things I don't want to do. I get up early every morning, I work out. Well, it sounds like you like doing it if you've done it for that long, right? This is something that's progressional. You have to constantly be pushing yourself, because what he said is as soon as you start enjoying it atrophy sets in. Yeah. Right.
That's like basically saying, oh, I get up every day and I go to my job, and you think that it's gonna grow. It's not the same kind of concept. Right. There's a difference between having to do something, wanting to do something, and then challenging yourself to do something. I really believe that. I mean, those are your three options every single day. You have to be at work at 8. You get yourself up at 5 in the morning. That's, I think, where he's kind of getting that idea or that concept is. That's something where you're having to really challenge yourself up. You don't get up at 5 to go work out. And not saying that you can work out. You can work out whatever. You just work out. But I'm just using an example. Or if you have to be at work at 8, you get up at 8 and you're trying to say, well, maybe that part of my brain's growing because I'm challenging myself. No, you're having to do that. That's your job.
Yeah, you're
That's
just
your
doing
routine.
what you do.
Yeah. You're
not pushing yourself.
Yeah, because you're getting up to do a specific task. Now you want to add something to that. You want to, you wake up and say, I'm going to start riding my bike to work, or I'm going to jog to work, or something like that. That's where that comes into where it can relate to that word.
Right. And Goggins is sitting there going, yeah, now we're talking. Talking. He goes, I didn't know any of this. I don't know all that science or whatever, but I'm telling you, the reason I am who I am today is because I made myself do a bunch of stuff I didn't want to do.
Exactly.
He's like, do you think that one day I just woke up at 300 pounds and I was like, my whole life's going to change, and I never looked back? I was never tempted to stop. He's like, no, every single day was a fight after that. But I told myself, I want to look in the mirror and I want to be proud of who I'm becoming. And that's a process every day. I want to be proud of what I did that day. And I don't mean proud in a egotistical way
Oh, of course,
necessarily,
yeah.
although I don't know him personally. But you know, that's not what we're aiming for. But proud as in fulfilled in what you're doing that day. And that doesn't always mean you did something fun. Generally, the opposite. Generally, it means you did something that you didn't want to do, but you did it anyway. And that's the most fulfilling.
And I think that's the problem that we have in portraying in society now is that I think we've kind of gone in reverse instead of looking up to those that are doing those kind of things. Because if you hear somebody say, I wake up at 2 o'clock every morning to work out and I go to work at 7, you're like, okay, whatever, get over yourself. No, you should be like, yo, good for you. That's awesome. You know, and even and we're using morning examples, but there's people who work out in the evening. I have people that get off of work, you know, they work 7 to 7 and they're in here in the gym working out at 9 p.m. I mean, that's commendable. They're probably doing something that they probably would have more things to do, but they're having to make that choice and that challenge. Right. And if we're going to choose to use statistics in the favor of kind of babying people or babying society, then don't use statistics at all, because statistically, you work out, you stay in shape, you are going to live longer. Right. That's facts.
You're just,
yeah. You can't debate that.
I think the statistic is if you work out 90 minutes a week, then on average you add like 8 years to your life or something.
Right.
And that's crazy. 8 years just by 90 minutes a week.
And yeah, and then those numbers. Because you can say, oh well, my Uncle Tom used to work out. So maybe Uncle Rob or something. Just talking about Tom. And then the day I say it,
Uncle Timmy.
Uncle Timmy.
Oh man.
You know, they say, okay, well, you know, he was 50 and he had a heart attack and he worked out every day. Yeah, but if you look at the total population, if you look at the sample size of where the statistics are come from,
that's like saying I know a person who invested all their money and they lost it all in 9/11.
Right.
Well, yeah, why would you pull your money out at 9/11, first of all? But secondly, yeah, bad things happen. But we're talking, generally speaking 99% of the time, you invest over a long period of time, you don't pull it out at the bottom of the market, then you make money by investing in index funds or whatever, right? We can always point to the worst possible, oh, well, so-and-so smoked a cigarette their whole life and they lived till 90. Okay, yeah, but the other 9 out of 10 people smoked cigarettes and died from lung cancer. Okay, so let's play our odds out.
I used to use the example where I would give to some people who would come into the gym. I would say that, okay, you see there's 2 lines. You see one line that's moving fast. Let's say you want to get on a ride, but the line on your left that's going super fast, when you see the ride start, the ride breaks down and people are stuck up there. Or you see a long line, but the ride never breaks down. It takes a little bit longer, but you get through at the end. I kind of use that example of when you start working out. Do you want to go to those quick fixes and those, you know, those schemes that are, you know, are meant to try to pull you in, to try to, you know, help you lose weight fast or get in shape faster? You look at it that it's a marathon, you know, it's not a sprint. So the 2 options you have, do you want something that's going to be quick and easy, but is not reliable? Or you want something that's going to, you know, take a little bit longer, maybe moving a little bit slower, but it's more obtainable. It lasts longer. Right. I mean, that's the way you have to look at it. Just, you know, keep yourself moving and then stay healthy with it.
Well, so I've got several friends that'll just text me with like workout questions and just PSA, just because your friend looks fit doesn't mean they know what they're talking about, okay? But I think I give good advice, right? So I'm glad they're willing to ask. But I've got one friend who, you know, needed at the beginning to lose about 100 pounds. And it's been over a year. They've lost like 35. Consistent, slow, but consistent. And they were telling me, like, I'm just frustrated. And I'm like, dude, 35 pounds is a lot of weight.
That's a lot of weight.
And this is 1 year of your life. And I would rather you lose 35 pounds a year for 3 years and get to where you need to be than lose it all in 6 months by abusing your body. You cause ailments and injuries to yourself by doing that, and then it sets you back 4 years, you know, because that's what happens to people is they yo-yo, and it's this whole, we wait for motivation to kick in. When motivation kicks in, we go crazy, we go ham. What we're talking about right now is not motivation, it's not passion, it's not whatever. It's choosing, regardless of how you feel, to do the right thing, to do the thing you know you need to do even when you don't want to do it. And long term, you're going to see fantastic results from that. And might I add, the people I know who've lost weight really slowly over time look great. Like they're glowing, you know. And it just builds more sustainable habits. You know, you can't sustain a super ridiculously low calorie keto diet for the rest of your life. It's just not realistic. As soon as you get off of it, you're going to want to eat everything in sight, versus the person who just says, you know what, one day at a time, I'm going to make better decisions than yesterday. And over 3 years, I'm going to get to where I need to be. And they don't let themselves stray from that for 3 years. That's long-term results that's going to stick with them.
Yeah, if you're giving yourself a chance, then give yourself a chance. Stick it through it to the, it's going to be a long journey, but you have to maintain it. You have to stay with it. And if you're the friend of someone who's coming to you saying, hey, I think I want to do this, and even if it's maybe not your cup of tea to lose weight, maybe you're not in shape, but if your friend, you know how they say misery loves company, and it also goes into, you look at the 5 people around you, you're most like the 5 people that you surround yourself with. If you're somebody and you look around yourself and you're not the healthy one, or everyone is unhealthy, then take it upon yourself to either help those that are around you or just go and help yourself, and know that there's people out there that actually care and they want to get you to live longer so we can enjoy life more. Oh man, that video got me hot.
Absolutely. Hot. And on that note, I'm sending one more video to James we're going to pull up.
No, my heart can't. Is it a little bit?
This is good. This is good. This is going to make you, this one's going to make you happy. But the whole idea of the 5 people closest to you is who you become, that concept.
That's true.
Is so true, man.
Yes, sir.
And might I add, not just you want people at your level, but find people who are where you want to be and get them in your circle. Figure out a way to make it worth it to them to be in their circle. I know people who have made it in social media because they called up someone who's a social media influencer and said, let me work for you for free for 6 months and just let me learn. And then they got that relationship built, and over time they learned so much, and they had a mentor type relationship because they offered something to them. And that's a cold call approach, okay? I'm not even necessarily talking about that. Find people who you know and gravitate towards those people, because man, if you stick around people who pull you down, you're never getting anywhere. Roll this clip. This was sent to me, and this was just awesome. Can you X that out?
Dr. David McCullough at Harvard did studies for 25 years looking into why it is that some people succeeded greatly in life. What he found was that as much as 99% of your success in life is going to be determined by what he called your reference group. Your reference group are the people with whom you habitually associate. What he found in working with people is that changing a person's reference group totally transforms the way they think. Why? It's because we are like chameleons, and we absorb through the skin the attitudes, the opinions, the behaviors of the people with whom we associate most of the time. If you start to associate with winners most of the time, you find that they have a totally different role. They're positive, they're upbeat, they're focused, they're learning, they're growing, they're positive at what they're doing, and you start to become like. Our relationships determine 85% of our happiness or unhappiness, and want to choose your relationships with care, and only associate with people that you like and respect and enjoy being around.
Yeah.
85% of your happiness and enjoyment in life comes from the people you spend time around.
That's why you got to avoid those Debbie Downers. Those people that just come in and want to complain about everything. The sun's too bright. Oh, the clouds. It's like they find something in everything. Even on the, a rainbow comes out and they complain because it rained and it was, humidity.
And might I add,
the creation
don't
of it.
be that guy either. Goodness, is it draining to be around. But man, surround yourself with good people. Push yourself to do things you don't want to do, whether that's physical, spiritual, mental. Think about those 4 F's: faith, family, fitness, finance. Think through those. Think about what you can do that it is the one thing that you don't want to do, and make yourself do it.
On each one of those, you're right.
Yeah, when it comes to your faith, if it is going to church, make yourself go. It may be uncomfortable for a while. Make yourself go. If it's family, whatever that looks like for your family, you hate dates, but your wife likes dates, go on the date. What's next? Fitness. if you hate going to the gym because you feel like you're judged at the gym, same concept as like the church thing, right? Where it's a environment you're uncomfortable with, make yourself go.
Or
if
just
you don't want to
take a walk outside.
If you don't want to go to the doctor about your issue because you're afraid they're going to bring up your weight, just accept that they're going to bring up your weight and go. Find those ways. And then finance, same thing. You don't want to cut out the out to eat budget. Cut out the out to eat budget. See how long you can go without eating out. I mean, you'll be amazed that you can actually survive without eating McDonald's and save a lot of money, right? And so in all of those areas, just, man, push yourself to be better. Do things that are difficult, because that's how you grow. You can't grow and be comfortable at the same time.
Amen to that. Okay, now I'm cool. These last two videos, they made up for that last doctor video that you sent me. So